Hello everyone, I'm Heather, and in today's video I'm going to tell you why our family decided to stop going to Wisconsin Dells. Wisconsin Dells is a very popular tourist destination in the Midwest. It's known as the water park capital of the world. It does have a lot of water parks, although not as many as it used to have. The thing that it's more known for now are its indoor water park resorts, which can be very handy when you live in a place with a climate like the upper Midwest. We have very cold, harsh winters, and so being able to go to those indoor water park resorts in the winter, fall, and spring when you can't really go outside and swim and do outdoor activities can be really nice. Summer still is the most popular time of year for people to visit Wisconsin Dells, and it can get very busy and crowded in the summer. It gets millions of visitors every year. It's an extremely popular tourist destination and has been for many, many years. What a lot of people don't know is that Wisconsin Dells actually started out as a natural attraction. The Dells are actually natural rock formations along the Wisconsin River, and you can see those in a couple of different boat tours that are offered in Wisconsin Dells. I have done both the Upper Dells boat tour and the Lower Dells boat tour, and I have a video about the Lower Dells boat tour on my channel, and I'll link it right here if you want to see it. In the early years of my channel, I made a lot of videos about Wisconsin Dells, and they are extremely popular. Most of the top performing videos on my channel are actually videos about Wisconsin Dells. And I have received a lot of questions in more recent years since I stopped making videos about Wisconsin Dells. Are you going to go back to Wisconsin Dells? Are you going to make more videos about Wisconsin Dells? And I have answered those questions a few times, both in other videos and in the comments on videos. And the answer basically is no. I'm not saying we'll never go back to Wisconsin Dells or I'll never make another video about it, but it's pretty unlikely. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. All right, my history with Wisconsin Dells starts when I was a child, probably around 10 years old. I think my first trip to Wisconsin Dells was either with my dad and my brother, or it was on my 5th grade safety patrol field trip, okay? There was a tradition in our public school system and in my elementary school that all of the safety patrollers, the kids with the flags and the yellow vests that help kids cross the street next to elementary schools, we got to go, like every safety patroller in our school district, got to go on an end of the year overnight trip. We were 5th graders, so we were like 10 years old, to Wisconsin Dells, and this was a big deal and it was a tradition, and I got to do that, and that might be my first trip to Wisconsin Dells. I also feel like we went on additional field trips through school, like as part of different extracurricular things, or like, I know when my son was in 7th grade, I think they got to go to Wisconsin Dells, and I went with as a chaperone. So, I mean, there were different times in school years that people where we live got to go to Wisconsin Dells on school trips. So it was very geared and focused for kids that were, you know, elementary, middle school age. And then it was a very popular destination going way back, probably into like even the 30s and 40s, I think, for families. It was a natural destination. There was camping was popular, and seeing these natural rock formations on the river was a very popular thing to do. And gradually over time, the tourism aspect grew and grew and grew until it became the very popular and touristy destination that it is today. Wisconsin Dells is actually a fairly small size city in south central Wisconsin. It has, you know, a regular population that lives there all the time. I will put the population down below here because I'll have to look up what it actually is. It's smaller than the city that I live in northern Wisconsin. So it's not a very big city at all. Baraboo is right next to it, and there's a couple of attractions there, like this Circus World Museum is in Baraboo, and the North Freedom Railroad, which is a train museum and rides, is in Baraboo, both of which we've also done. So, you know, there's some other smaller towns around there. The closest bigger city to Wisconsin Dells would be Madison, which is the state capital of Wisconsin. We took family trips when I was a kid, and I took many family trips to Wisconsin Dells with my own family and with my kids. And I even think I went as a teenager and a young adult a few times, specifically to go to the water parks. And the one that was really popular back in the day, and it's still there and operational, is Noah's Ark, which was, for a time at least, I don't know if it still is, the largest outdoor water park in the world, or at least in North America or the United States. I'm not sure. Looking at it now, I really don't like Noah's Ark that much. It's on a very strange, long, narrow lot with a lot of hills, and it's really not that much fun or very easy to walk around and get around it. But it's always been very popular, and it continues to be very popular. But I do think that the indoor water park resorts, such as Wilderness Resort, the Kalahari Resort, and Great Wolf Lodge, all of which have locations in other places in the United States too, have become more popular than outdoor water parks like Noah's Ark. There's really only 2 outdoor water parks left in Wisconsin Dells: Noah's Ark and Mount Olympus, part of the Mount Olympus Resorts Complex. And honestly, I wouldn't recommend either one of them. Here are the 5 reasons that our family stopped going on trips or family vacations to Wisconsin Dells. Reason number 1, we've done everything. We've done everything that we want to do there. Yeah, there's a couple of things here and there that we kind of talked about maybe doing. One is the horse and wagon ride that goes like through a canyon. I think it's called Secret Canyon. We always talked about, we should do that sometime, but do I want to do it enough that I want to go back just to do that? No. But like we've gone there many, many times, and we've stayed there many times, and we've kind of done it all. We've done it all. We know what everything is like. You know, been there, done that. We've done all the things that we want to do there. We've done both of the river tours. We've stayed at all of the water park resorts. We've been to all the outdoor water parks and a lot of the little attractions and stuff, and we've just kind of done it all. And so there's not really any reason for us to continue going there just to repeat the same things all the time. And the other thing that Megan added to this one is that there isn't very often anything new anymore. There was kind of a boom, I would say, in like probably the early 2000s when they were building a lot of stuff all the time, but they don't really do that anymore. And it's very infrequent that they build anything new in Wisconsin Dells anymore. If anything, stuff that was there that I remember has closed or gone out of business. The one thing that you will see is some of the places will continue to expand. The 2 that really stick out in my mind are the Kalahari Resort and Mount Olympus. Those places will keep getting bigger and adding things to them, but no new things will get built. So there just really isn't anything new for us to see or do, or that we're interested in seeing or doing. It's just, we've already done it all. The second reason we've stopped going to Wisconsin Dells is really the age of my kids and their amount of interest in going there. They had a lot of fun going there. I had a lot of fun going there when we were younger. My kids now are basically all adults, really, and they just don't have any interest in going there anymore. It was very exciting and fun to them when they were younger. Especially, I would say, again, that elementary, middle school age range. It's a lot of fun for kids that age. But once your kids get into even high school, they're just not that thrilled with it anymore, especially if they've been there a lot of times in the past. For me, as I've gotten older, you will see lots of senior citizens visiting Wisconsin Dells all the time. But because a lot of it is focused on water parks, and if you know what a water park is like, it's a pretty physical activity. You have to climb a lot of stairs, and it involves lots of water slides going down, either in some kind of tube or on a mat or just on your own body. And that isn't necessarily something that my body is up for these days. So it can be very exhausting to spend a day in a water park, and it's just not something that really appeals to me anymore at my age. Their interest in where they want to travel and what they want to see and do has matured over time. When you're a kid and you're not interested in going that far away and stuff like that, something pretty close by like Wisconsin Dells can seem really appealing. But now that they've had a taste of more adventurous or exotic or not so typical destinations elsewhere in the United States or even in other countries, They're more interested in expanding their travel range and going to places like that. So they'd rather go farther away and see new things and do new things that they've never seen or done before. So overall, just because of the age of my kids and the age level and interest of our family, it's just not a place that appeals to us to go to anymore. There's other places that we'd rather visit and see. Okay, the third reason that we've stopped going to Wisconsin Dells is because it's expensive. You might hear about, and I've even made a video about how to get deals on Wisconsin Dells resorts and things like that. And there are ways that you can get some things fairly cheaply. But when you actually add it up, especially if you're staying at one of those big water park resorts, Wisconsin Dells can be a very pricey getaway. Even if you're only going for a weekend, it can be really expensive to go to Wisconsin Dells. So, and if you start adding in attractions and, food for your family for several days, it can be very, very pricey. I would actually say that going to Wisconsin Dells can easily rival a trip to Disney. The other thing that Ben wanted me to add to this one, as far as being expensive, is that he feels that it's overpriced. He really feels that the quality of what you get at some of the hotels and the attractions is not worth the amount of money that you're paying. And I would tend to agree. I would especially say that some places have not kept up with how much, in quality, as much as their prices have gone up in the same amount of time. Okay, the fourth reason, which I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, is crowds. Especially in the summer, Wisconsin Dells can be extremely crowded. There are a couple of streets there, roads, where you can be in literally stop and go bumper to bumper traffic for a very long time. The attractions can get extremely, extremely crowded. The resorts can be full, and therefore they can charge a much higher price because the demand is high. There can be long waits to get into restaurants, things like that. So it can get very, very crowded, especially in the summer or other school break times. So spring break, I don't know that I've ever gone there at Christmas break, but anytime that any schools in Wisconsin, maybe Minnesota, definitely Illinois, Chicago area, any of those times that big districts in those places have off school, the Wisconsin Dells is going to be very crowded. If you go at a time of year when it's not when people would typically go, it can be a very nice, quiet, calm, relaxing destination, but it can be kind of hit or miss whether when you go is going to be like that or not. Because obviously we don't all know when all those school districts have off school. But it can tend to be a very crowded destination because, again, remember, Wisconsin Dells is really just a small town. It's a small town. It's not big. It's a lot of stuff packed into this little small area, and it can get really crowded and really hard to get around, and there can be a lot of people everywhere that you want to go. There's also not that many places to go. So there's only so many attractions. There's only so many resort hotels. And so if they're all full, you don't have any other options. Okay, and number 5, the last thing I wanted to say, and I'm not quite sure how to explain this, but Megan felt I should include this because it mainly kind of affects me, is how the Dells has changed over time. And one of the ways that it's changed over time is that a lot of the things that I used to go see in the Dells or visit in the Dells aren't there anymore. For example, Xanadu, A House of Tomorrow. That was one of my favorite attractions in Wisconsin Dells, and it doesn't exist anymore. There is a mini golf course where Xanadu used to be. And then right kitty corner across from Xanadu, A House of Tomorrow, was Fort Dells. It wasn't a real fort, but it was made to be just like a frontier style fort. And I remember even Andrew got to go there when he was a kid, I think. And that's gone. And there is a McDonald's where that used to be. Now, they did put old log siding, not old, but log-like siding on that McDonald's in honor of Fort Dells that used to be at that location, which I thought was kind of neat. But things like that. There's attractions that I used to like to go to, restaurants that I used to like to go to, and they're just not there anymore. If you remember Wisconsin Dells from prior to the 2000s, I would say, or even before the 90s, before the big indoor water park resorts were built, you will remember all of these adorable little family-owned motels. All lining the main 2 streets of Wisconsin Dells were little family-owned motels, and that was where everybody stayed. And those all got run out of business, basically. When the big new resort hotels came into town, and especially Mount Olympus, ran all those folks out of business. Gradually, one by one, they started closing. And Mount Olympus, every time one of those little family-owned motels closes, they buy it up and they turn it into more hotel rooms for their resort. And so it became very homogenized because like everything is Mount Olympus now in that part of Wisconsin Dells. And then when you get over, Lake Delton is really, it's a neighboring town or township, is really where the big water park resorts are, like Kalahari and Great Wolf Lodge. So that was kind of sad for a lot of people. It was sad for me to see that. I don't particularly like Mount Olympus or the way they run it. I think it has some serious maintenance and safety issues, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. We have been there, but I don't think it's someplace I would suggest that you go to. But it's very, very popular, and they keep expanding, and they keep buying up more of these closed down motels and adding them to their roster of rooms, and they keep building more stuff at their water park. And then the other thing I would say, and even my own kids kind of know what I'm saying with this, along with that, Wisconsin Dells as a whole used to have a very wholesome, kind of old-fashioned, family-friendly feel. It kind of felt like this neat little quaint, cool place that you went as a family on vacations. And like I said, they used to take a lot of school trips there. I don't think they do that anymore. And the reason is because the entire atmosphere of Wisconsin Dells has changed in the past 20 years, I would say. And it went from that kind of wholesome, kind of quirky, cute little quaint place to go visit to just really touristy. And it brought with it, that change, a different type of visitor. And some of them aren't the most respectful, I guess I would say. And even the big water park resorts have had to put into place a lot of rules to handle the way visitors behave, is about the nicest way I can put it. And it's just become a completely different feel. If you've been to Wisconsin Dells, you know, a long time ago and more recently, and you know what I mean, leave me a comment down below. So there you go. Those are the 5 reasons that our family has stopped visiting Wisconsin Dells and why I don't make videos about it anymore. If you have visited Wisconsin Dells in the past and you stopped going, do any of these reasons that I listed resonate with you? Or if you've never been there, have you wanted to go there? Does this video give you pause and make you reconsider your decision? I would say too, there are other destinations in the United States that are similar, that have similar, even the same indoor water park resorts, like Kalahari and Great Wolf Lodge are the 2 big ones. Some of the ones that kind of come to mind for me are Branson, Missouri, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, the Poconos. I think there's some aspect of this a little bit I've heard. Sandusky, Ohio, where Cedar Point is, I think have kind of a similar vibe in a way. I haven't been to all of these, but my understanding is they're kind of a similar thing where it's a small town that became a very touristy place with all these hotels and attractions and things like that. If you've been to any of those and you've been to Wisconsin Dells, do you think they compare? For those of you that subscribe to my channel because you liked my Wisconsin Dells videos, thank you so much for doing that. I hope that you found other things that are of interest to you on my channel that have kept you engaged in coming back to watch more of my videos. And I hope you're not too disappointed that we just choose not to go there anymore or make videos about it. But thank you to everyone for taking time to watch this video. I hope it was helpful to you and interesting and informative. If it was, please be sure to give me a thumbs up down below. And make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming travel content. Have a great day, everyone, and safe travels.